What's going on, everybody? It's the Bulls Show, aka Aiden, and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, after coming off one of the most embarrassing losses of the Chicago Bulls season against Philadelphia at home, one of the biggest bright spots to take away from that game was the performance of Coby White, who is considered at this point in time our sixth man for the Chicago Bulls. Now, Coby White's had a very controversial career in the NBA, but with the Chicago Bulls as well. He's had up moments, he's had down moments, he's had moments where he struggled, he's had moments where he's thrived. He's often known as an inconsistent high volume scorer and things of that nature. However, it also comes down to the, controversy and the inconsistency of whether or not people want to keep him here or people want him to go and join a different team in the NBA. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think now my mind is set in stone. I really want to keep Coby White as a Chicago Bulls player, and today will be the reasons that I bring to you guys in this video. I want to discuss why I would keep Coby White on this team. Before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Bulls Show, turn notifications on, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Chicago Bulls and whether or not you would like to keep Coby White as well. Now, before I get any further, there is absolutely some messages I need to bring out before I start this video. I've seen a lot around Chicago Bulls, Twitter and just everywhere, discussing whether you would keep Coby White or Ayo. And I'm not going to lie, I played party to this as well. I'm sure I've asked those questions in the past about whether or not I would keep Ayo Dosunmu or keep Coby White. Right now, as we speak, I'm not going to ask that question. This is not going to be a video about why I would keep Coby White and not keep Ayo or anything like that. Because one, I truly think that if it was up to me, I'd keep both of them. But two, at this point, it doesn't matter. We're not in the off season yet. So all of this keep and stuff, the keep, waive and trade videos are usually at the trade deadline, the off season, stuff like that. That's when I talk a lot more in depth about these scenarios. But I just want to talk about Coby White today. I want to talk about how great he has been for the Chicago Bulls, and I just want to talk about how he has been the brightest point in terms of our development. Now, when you look at his stats are not great in terms of what you've seen him be in his first three seasons. He averaged double-digit points in the first three seasons. He's had better assists in the first three seasons, but he's also doing this, one, in a different role. His role this season has been fairly different to other years. And two, he's doing it in a career low in minutes. He's playing around about 5 minutes less than his second lowest average. He's only playing 22 minutes a game for the Chicago Bulls, according to his statistics as we speak. Some games might be higher, other games might be lower, but for the most part, that's his average, 22 minutes per game for the Chicago Bulls. So again, you look at the statistics side of things, you might think he is not developed that well. In fact, people might even argue he's regressed in terms of his statistics. But thankfully, not everything is about statistics. If you look at the eye test for Coby White, you look at the clear improvements that he's made to his game, in my opinion, he is the biggest bright spot in terms of Chicago Bulls development. And I'm going to go out on a limb here and I'm going to say something that might be controversial, because we're not known as a good development team. We're not. Look at even the current players that the Bulls have. I don't think we've developed Dalen Terry very well. I don't think we've developed Marco very well. I don't necessarily think we've developed guys like Patrick Williams and Ayo at a consistent level. We didn't really do a good job with Wendell Carter. Granted, he had a lot of injuries. We didn't do it very well with Larry Marketing. Granted, he had a lot of injuries. I guess the biggest development point for the Chicago Bulls that we could look at and look at how good that development was Jimmy Butler. And maybe I would argue Zach LaVine as well, but some people said that Zach LaVine was really doing this with Minnesota at the time as well. He was getting into those development stages. The Bulls just got it out of him once they traded for him and stuff like that. But it's not about Zach LaVine, it's not about Jimmy Butler, but the development and the history behind our development is there. We're not a great development team. We haven't been a great development team since I've known to be a Chicago Bulls fan. We've developed a couple of guys here or there, but for the most part, we're not great in terms of development. That's okay. At least we know our weaknesses in that point. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say Coby White's development has been the best since Jimmy Butler's been here. And that you might look at that and say, Well, that for some people, they might just say that's just not true. Some people will disagree, and that's fine. But when it comes to actually making heavy improvements on his game, himself, first and foremost, because you always got to give credit to the player themselves for developing their game, and for the Bulls trusting him in these things when everybody else didn't want the ball in Coby White's hands, or everybody else didn't believe in Coby White. And he's turning people's minds and opinions around as we speak. It's an incredible sight to see. But again, I can look at previous examples. Larry Marketing. You look at how he's played with, I guess, his role for the Utah Jazz. He's much more than just a spot-up shooter for Utah. He's very good in the pick and rolls, pick and pops, very good in the post. He's able to run, use his transition game, very, very quick for a 7-footer. He did all these things for Utah. And his role is much different to where it was on the Bulls. The Bulls was a stand-up three-point shooter. You're going to sit there at the corner of the three-point line. You're going to sit at the three-point line and just shoot your threes. That's all you're good for the Chicago Bulls. Outside of the first season, I think the first season was very, very good for Larry Marketing. But again, other than that, became a spot-up shooter and a spot-up shooter alone. And clearly, that was not used correctly. I think with Wendell Carter, there's not much else I can say. That I think injuries really got in the way from that. But Orlando just continued the process with Wendell Carter that we built. A lot of people said, look at Wendell Carter's three-point percentage at the three-point line in Orlando and their team. We started that. We developed Wendell Carter into a three-point shooter, but at the time, it was still in its developmental stages. He was still shooting 20% from the three-point line, but the Bulls encouraged Wendell Carter to shoot. But nevertheless, injuries, giving up on him too early, whatever the case may be, we did not develop Wendell Carter well compared to Orlando and his role in Orlando. And of course, roles are a big part of development. They are. You need to establish a role, establish an identity, and build upon it in different years. And the Bulls are not very good at that. Their roles, their development seems to be very lackluster every single time. With Coby White, I don't think his development's been perfect. And again, if I'm saying that Coby White's development has been the best since Jimmy Butler, I'm basically implying that our development is still not great because Coby White's development has not been perfect. Last season, 90% of the Bulls fan base wanted Coby White traded. But looking at the one-off season that he actually had to work on his game, work on his handles, work on his defense, provide more energy, and the Bulls themselves, you got to give credit to the Chicago Bulls. The Bulls always wanted the ball in Coby White's hands. When we were telling ourselves that Coby White should be a spot-up shooter or should be a scorer, a primary scorer on this team. He shouldn't have the ball in his hands. He shouldn't be a point guard and all these things. The Bulls didn't listen to any of that and they still put the ball in Coby White's hands. They still made Coby White a point guard and he plays like a point guard. I know Basketball Reference mentions he's a shooting guard. This season he's been a point guard for this team. He has the ball in his hands. He's dictating the play. He's using his handles in pick and roll scenarios. He's trying to find open players and everything in between. And that's where the development has been so successful for the Chicago Bulls. They kept that faith in Coby White, and Coby White, with his ability to work hard, has repaid that faith. And just because his stats are very low compared to other seasons, I think everybody looks at the eye test, looks at Coby White. A lot of people have been saying it, and it remains true now. When we look at Coby White, we can see with our own eyes how he's developed in the Chicago Bulls team. And that's why I would like to keep him, because this is the first sign in a long time of the Bulls actually doing something in terms of development. And I want it to continue. I want to see Ayo develop. I want to see Patrick Williams develop. But a lot of people don't trust our development. But with Coby White, it's one of the first glimpses of maybe this Bulls team could develop some of these players. And in my opinion, that's why I'd like to keep Coby White, because I think he's the prime example of that. And if we can't develop all of these players, well, at least you can keep someone that you know for a fact has developed from the season before until now. And it's been night and day, those I guess developments and how he's been able to change his game and put himself in scenarios to play for the Chicago Bulls when, again, there were some points at the beginning of the season he did not get minutes. He didn't play some of the games, or he only played 10 minutes a game. And now he's just a consistent guy that's getting 20 minutes a game, just trying to do his best for this Bulls team. So it is what it is. I also think Bulls fans like the hustles. They like those players that are going to hustle hard. I think Coby White has really shown himself to be a likable guy for the Chicago Bulls fans, because he works very hard, he hustles for every ball, he's willing to sacrifice his body in certain scenarios to make sure we can get a stop or to get a foul call or to go to the line and stuff like that. We've seen that already, and I think that does pull on the Bulls fans' heartstrings a little bit more. But that's not the only reason, of course, why I want to keep him. I just want to keep him because I've seen the development, and it's the first sign of the Bulls actually developing someone at an okay level. And it is what it is. I know it's controversial what I said about Coby White being the best, I guess, case of development since Jimmy Butler. And because you look at Larry Marketing, he averaged 17 points here. Wendell Carter was averaging close to a double-double here. But I felt like in all of the seasons after their first, it wasn't great for Larry Marketing. It wasn't great for Wendell. The development declined every single season with the Chicago Bulls team, with those players. And very rarely did you see that development go up again, or rarely did you see their form improve after their first season and stuff like that. Very similar to guys like Denzel Valentine. Very similar to other guys that are out of the league. Very similar to guys like... the list can go on. You've seen it. Even in the early 2000s, you've seen it. So there's no need to really go any further than that. But I understand it's controversial, and if you don't agree with that, that's fine. But that's how I see it, and that's why I want to keep him here, because I actually see how he's improved, and I want to see more of that. And I think if you can put all the game together, he can become a consistently good scorer, which has been a big problem for him for 4 years now. We can't rule that out. It's been a problem, and it's still a problem today. But if he can be a consistent scorer with that defensive energy, with his ability to handle the ball, and be a point guard, backup or starting for the Chicago Bulls, all of these things combined together, you got a great player there that is still extremely young and has room to improve. I'm not willing to give up on Coby White's development yet. And we'll wait and see. Maybe the Bulls are. I think it's a mistake if they do. And that's why this video is also being made. If we trade Coby White, I think it will be a mistake in the long run. And hopefully the Bulls can see that. But if not, again, I know a lot of people don't agree with that as well. We'll wait and see what ends up happening. Thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. And I'll see you in the next Chicago Bulls video. Again, very, very bad loss against Philly. Let's see if we can pick it up against Portland. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay tuned for more. Take care and peace.